Okay, so today we talk about 0 to 1, which is a book by Peter Thiel, co-founder of PayPal, Palantir, and the Founders Fund. And he's one of the smartest venture capitalists and entrepreneurs of the last decades. He was part of the PayPal Mafia, the group of former PayPal employees and founders who have since founded and developed a few of the most important tech companies, such as Tesla, SpaceX, in the case of Elon, and YouTube, this platform here in which I'm talking, and LinkedIn, a lot of many different companies and platforms. And Peter Thiel is now worth around 10 billion, so he knows his stuff. And I will try to get to you my most important notes from this book, which is not a summary. I'm not spoiling this book, so you can read it too. These are just the key ideas, in my opinion, and also the smartest concepts. So the basic idea behind 0 to 1 is that entrepreneurs that really succeed, like Peter Thiel, have the ability to create something, which is the one in the title, out of nothing, the zero. What they do is not just iteration of something that already exists. They use their inventiveness to create completely new industries and products that can transform lives. And the first chapter of notes that I took is based on the idea that successful people find value in unexpected places. And they do this by thinking about business from first principles instead of formulas. This is something that also Elon says. You don't want to just take an existing formula and apply to your business, but you want always to put under perspective things and to understand if the so-called truth is really the truth, and or it's just something made up by different people, and maybe the stuff that was working for them does not work for you. So you always want to be critic, to have a rational mindset. So between 1815 to 1914 was a period of both rapid technological development and rapid globalization. So between the First World War and 1971 there was rapid technological development but not much globalization. Then, since 1971, we have seen rapid globalization along with limited technological development, mostly confined to IT. So this is the first idea that struck me, because we are used to believe in the idea, the dream, that technology is unstoppable and progress is automated, is continuous, but that's not the case, because in the last 50 years we really saw major developments only in the IT areas, in the IT fields, with the development of the computers, internet, and social media. But there are a lot more fields of human potential that we didn't manage to develop as we would like to. So there is still a lot of progress to be made in different areas. Another idea is that a startup is the largest group of people you can convince of a plan to build a different future. So at the base of a startup, you need also mindset, and you need shared values between people. It's not only a matter of business. You should not know what your business will do. Planning is arrogant and inflexible. Instead, you should try things out, iterate. So in that sense, you want to iterate on a basis of a general idea of wanting to do something to improve. And this is also the idea that I had to start this YouTube channel. I just want to experiment and to try things out, but I don't have a clear, perfect plan. It's just I wanted to see how things go, and I wanted to adapt based on the results that I get. So don't try to create a new market prematurely. The only way to know you have a real business is to start with an already existing customer. So if you have a customer, you know that there is actually market demand for what you're offering, and don't want to just create a market out of nothing, because it's not that. You need to understand what is the real demand, the real need of people and of industries. So let's go to the second section. Creating value is not enough. Your company also needs to capture some of the value it creates. So it's not only about creating value for other people, because you need also to sustain your company. In business, equilibrium means stasis, and stasis means death. So you don't want to have a business that is fixed, that is in a situation of stasis. You want a business that's constantly expanding. So the only sustainable way to do business is to expand. I think it's just a myth, in the sense that, of course, people won't agree to reduce their lifestyles and their needs, So you want to always keep improving and keep expanding your capabilities. Biggest secret in venture capital is that the best investment in successful fund equals or outperforms the entire rest of the funds combined. Only invest in companies that have the potential to return the value of the entire fund. So venture capitalists are not right on average. They make money on a few precise trades in which they invest huge sums of money into opportunities with really high potential. So for example, companies that if they succeed, they are not just doubling or tripling the revenues, but they are exponentially, they will have exponentially higher revenues, such as 100x, 1000x. And on average, then, those victories compensate for all the losses of the other companies that didn't quite succeed in the same way for venture capitalists. Every monopoly is unique, but they usually share some combination of the following characteristics. First, proprietary technology, network effects, economies of scale, and branding. So these are the four ideas, four pillars of a monopoly. Of course, there is no standard formula for a monopoly, but if you have your own technology, if you have network effects, so which means that you have your network and a network that is influenced by what you decide and what you want to achieve, and if you have economies of scale and branding, so personal branding also is doing very well in the last years. The perfect market for a startup is a small group of particular people concentrated together and served by few to no competitor. If you want to have market demand, if you wanted to have the perfect demand for your products, if you are in the startup phase, you want a small group, so which is not like the entire earth, it's just a small group of customers, and they are concentrated together and served by a low competition. So this is another idea that we'll return to that later. So then there is the Moore's law, and Moore's law backward is Eroom's law, which is kind of funny. This law observes that the number of new drugs approved per $1 billion spent on R&D, which is research and development, has halved every 9 years since 1950. So this is returning to the concept of we live in an era of technological progress under just the IT sector. It's not progress, for example, in the medical sector, because the rate of new creation of new drugs and the new interesting and useful medicine is actually decreasing the rate of growth. So there are fewer and fewer drugs that are being produced and developed that are really changing people's lives. So we hope that this trend will change, but as of now, the real progress has only been made in the technological informatics sector. So third chapter, competition is an ideology. We preach competition, and as a result we trap ourselves within it, even though the more we compete, the less we gain. So there is actually economics law in which if you reach the perfect competition, then your profit will be zero, because in economies of scale, in perfect competitive markets, the price of your product will be equal to the cost that you sustained to make the product. So competition, you want to avoid competition the more you can, because otherwise you won't make any money, simply. So every great business is built around a secret that's hidden from the outside. A great company is a conspiracy to change the world. This is very interesting definition, because at the base of your company, of your startup, there is a group of people with the same idea, the same conspiracy to change the world, and possibly in a better way. If not, it's a different kind of organization. So as a founder, your first job is to get the first things right, because you cannot build a great company on a flawed foundation. If you want to start a company, the best way to start a company is to do it right in the beginning phase. So the foundation has to be strong. You want a strong foundation because if you increase speed, if you increase the size of your company, but the foundation is weak, then you will just build something that will collapse with the weight of responsibilities and with the speed of change. A board of 3 is ideal. Your board should never exceed 5 people, unless your company is publicly held. So a company does better the less it pays its CEO. So this is some measures that Peter Thiel understood to be correct. So I don't have like a confirmation, experimental confirmation of that numbers, but on average you want your board to include less than 5 people, because maybe the reason is that just more than 5 people will have a lot of difficulties in going along and actually deciding the same choices and taking the best decision for the future of your company. If you can't count durable relationships among the fruits of your work, you haven't invested your time well. So this is very smart in my opinion. You don't want only to make money, but you also want to create strong relationships with interesting people, and you want to create value also from a relationship standpoint. It's not just you can create value with money, with creating beautiful products and services, but also giving opportunities to other people to express their potential. So this is very interesting within your company. And you want people that are responsible for a specific action, for a specific role that you want them to perform. So you won't have confusion of, for example, different people that do the same thing. Anyone who prefers owning a part of your company to being paid in cash reveals a preference for the long term and a commitment to increasing your company's value. So the idea is that if you find employees that want to be paid for example, in shares of your company instead of cash, they reveal a preference for your company instead of owning cash in the future. So this is a great signal that they are committed to your company. Advertising doesn't exist to make you buy a product right away. It exists to embed subtle impressions that will drive sales later. So direct advertising is overrated, because you want to change the prospect, so the potential client's idea of your brand and your company. So brand awareness is the basis of sales. It's not like direct marketing. They're just two different sciences, but they are both useful. But at the base, especially if you're a big company, you want to develop brand awareness. So the total net profit that you earn on average over the course of your relationship with a customer, which is called the customer lifetime value, CLV, must exceed the amount you spend on average to acquire a new customer, which is called the customer acquisition cost, CAC. Customer lifetime value has to be higher than customer acquisition cost. This is a basic like venture capitalist formula. Last chapter of my notes says that every entrepreneur should plan to be the last mover in her particular market. That starts with asking yourself, what will the world look like 10 and 20 years from now? And how will my business fit in? So you want to grow a company, not just looking at how the situation is right now, but how the future will be for your sector and for your market. The stark differences between man and machine mean that gains from working with computers are much higher than gains from trade with other people. And this is something that is really changing in the last decades, and especially in the last years with AI. The lesson for founders is that individual prominence and adulation can never be enjoyed except on the condition that it may be exchanged for individual notoriety and demonization at any moment. So be careful. This is advice by Peter Thiel. Basically, the last idea is that without new technology to relieve competitive pressures, stagnation is likely to erupt into conflict. In case of conflict on a global scale, stagnation collapses into extinction. So these are quite profound ideas. And the basic idea is that since competition generates pressure, you want technology to alleviate, to relieve competition. So without technology, naturally the consequence is that competition brings conflict. So you don't want extreme competition. You don't want competition that goes too far, because it will generate conflict. And the best way to avoid conflict is to invent new technology. So this was the last idea of the book by Peter Thiel, 0 to 1. Is one of the best books I've read, and I really suggest you to give it a look, because it's also a very short book. And with that said, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video and with the next book review.